Welcome back to our channel. We have been bringing you everybody from CEOs to founders to CFOs to CMOs. All of them have taken a chair, sat down, and talked to us about everything that's going on in the space. We are live here from Paris Blockchain Week 2025. And again, we have David from Kraken sitting right beside me. So let's dive in and find out what's been going on, what can we expect, and how has Kraken been developing in the last few months. First of all, my friend, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for having me. I love Bitcoin Magazine. I'm excited to be at the conference and talking with you.
Yes.
I'm David Olsson. I look after institutional client solutions for Kraken.
Yeah.
I've been with the company for 2.5 years. Prior to that, I started my career in traditional finance with 8 years at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and 6 years at Credit Suisse.
Okay, so with all that experience, when you bring that experience into Kraken, where do you guys stand right now? How do you feel that you are balancing the market and balancing yourselves as an actual product?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think Kraken has always aimed at the deep crypto users. So the people that really know the space intimately. Our mission is to promote cryptocurrency around the world and promote adoption. So how do we do that? We need to reach out to a new generation of users as well as institutions which have never had exposure to crypto before. So that's a real challenge given where we're coming from. But obviously, since the time that I've been in crypto, which is the last 5 years, we've seen massive change. And that's a very short amount of time in traditional markets. It's maybe one cycle, if that. So I think we need to put everything into perspective and say, actually, we're doing a great job at our mission. And in being able to promote people to make use of a technology that enables democracy of finance, financial freedom, and the like.
Now, yesterday I was on a panel for institutional adoption, digital assets being actually made core business of big regulated entities. How does Kraken feel about that?
Sorry, can you go over your question one more time? That's all right.
When institutional adoption happens and the big entities, the regulated banks, take up digital assets and make it a core of their business,
yeah.
How would Kraken react to something like that?
I mean, I think we would love it. That's what we're here for. We want to convert the people that have either been oppositional, the non-believers. We believe in the technology. We think it should be as widely used as possible. And it will just help our ecosystem grow as well. So, you know, obviously it's kind of a Woodstoll saying, but where the rising tide lifts all boats. We think in this case, that's certainly true. We're entering into some partnerships. I can't talk about them now, but with some of the largest, really big household names. And the idea is to enable bridging between their ecosystem, which is very traditional, and our ecosystem, and the types of clients they have, which are very different from our clients, so that both, you know, all of these can take advantage of, you know, both of the features and products that we have to bring, you know, to our clients, respective clients.
Now, you've dealt with challenges over and over again. You've crossed many hurdles.
Yeah.
Do you foresee any other challenges coming up that you're preparing for? Hey, this is coming up. We're ready for it. We're gonna get over it.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Yeah, we've crossed many challenges. Obviously, from an adoption standpoint. It's a new technology. There was a lot of skepticism about it. What was it being used for? And then obviously there's a big regulatory challenge around the globe. We think, particularly in Europe, there's been great strides on regulation, and that's why we're here at Paris Blockchain Week. And I think a lot of people don't know that Europe is our #1 market. Yeah, as a percentage of our revenue. So, and we have the #1 mark. We were the first to launch Euro pairs, and we're also #1 by volume. So it's really important to us. But back to your question in terms of the. I mean, I think, you know, the challenge really is to to enable that next generation of users and make sure, or of adopters. I think that we still need to get past kind of the reputation that crypto has, that it enabled illicit activity, obviously. And the reality is that what it does is it speeds up economic activity. And there's been some pilots, for example, of commodity trades that happen in hours instead of a few days. Tether did this experiment with an oil financing, that apparently sped up the whole settlement process. We're going to replicate that across the rest of traditional assets, equities, bonds, everything. And you'll see, I'd love to be able to talk about it now, but you'll be seeing us making big moves to enable that to happen. And I think, back to kind of democratizing financial products, the ability that crypto gives to really make something into its component parts, and then being able to fragment it down to a size that everyone can get access to. So it means that products that the wider population has not had access to will be able to. So
when you think about it, wider access means adoption.
Yeah.
From your perspective, what do you think is standing in the way of this mass adoption that we all want?
Yeah, I think it's there's a legacy of skepticism right around any new technology, and you can remember back when cell phones came out, there's a lot of you talk about any
they'll give you cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Crypto's not going to give you cancer. No one's ever said that. That's the only thing they haven't said.
Yes.
But I think that there is a perception now amongst some of the powers that be, is all I'll say, is that maybe it takes activity away from the places that is less advantageous. Banks are there to lend. If we enable crypto, it means that people don't have to centralize their finances with one institution. Crypto's about decentralization. They'll have their choice and more freedom about where their assets can go. That puts it potentially out of the kind of banking system that has been designed to support economic activity, and so I think there's some skepticism as well as just fear over that, and that's our job, is to engage with governments, with regulators, with big corporations, to make sure that they know actually this isn't going to detract from economic activity. This is going to augment this new technology, because it's going to bring more people into the fold of being able to access products and services, which at the end of the day will make them wealthier.
Wonderful. So, based on what you've told me, what would be the one thing that Kraken is going to focus on to make sure we could lead adoption in the next 6 months?
Yeah, so there's not one. We've got several initiatives, so I'm not going to
pick the best one.
Okay.
That you are allowed to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So on the institutional side, which I'm particularly excited about, because of client demand, they've asked for an alternative for one place where they can do everything with their assets, which means put them in safe custody, what we call qualified custody in the US, which is regulated custody. And so that means that you get segregation, wallet level segregation, and a lot of technology to keep those assets secure. Okay. So Kraken, we have a legacy of security going back to 2011. We're going to roll that out for institutions so that as a fiduciaries for their clients, they can leverage our technology, our legacy of security for them, and also our deep crypto roots. So it's going to be cutting it, even though it's going to look like Fort Knox, or feel like Fort Knox in the ability to store assets, it's going to have the cutting edge that Kraken can bring and brings to the rest of the platform. So that's coming soon, which will also integrate as well. We launched custody last year, but we're going to integrate it with our state-of-the-art trading capabilities. And so that one ecosystem is something we'll bring to institutions, and we think that a lot of them have already asked us for, and so it's really exciting for us to be able to do that.
So to bring it to a close, building a community, bringing people together, and innovating.
Absolutely. The three of those are at the core of our ethos.
Wonderful. So you heard it. We're trying to build a community. We're trying to bring people together, and we're going to keep pushing forward. Innovation is key to all of us coming together and reaching mass adoption. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Merrill.
Thank you very much for giving us the time and sitting down with us and bringing all this new information for all of us readers and everybody who's watching. So you know what to do. Share and like this video, and we will keep bringing you key opinion leaders, CEOs, founders, people who are changing the market, pushing us all forward. See you soon.